News in detail right after this. Now the news in detail. A man was shot in the Marine Park community in Portmore St. Catherine this morning. According to residents in the area, loud explosions were heard at approximately 7:56 a.m. It was alleged that a total of 8 gunshots were fired. The police were called, and following checks, it was found that a man was shot. He was taken to the hospital. We will have more details in subsequent newscasts. The Westmoreland police are reporting that an illegal gun with ammunition was handed over to the officers in the parish on Thursday night following an incident at a bar. According to reports, about 9:30 p.m., a man was at a bar in Darlington when he was approached by a man who pulled a firearm. The other man reportedly grabbed the firearm and a tussle resulted, during which the gun fell to the ground. The gunman ran from the bar and escaped in the area. The police were called, and upon their arrival, the firearm, a high point 9mm Luger pistol with a magazine containing 3 9mm cartridges, was handed over to them. Investigations are still ongoing into the incident. Meanwhile, the police in St. Elizabeth have ramped up their search for a man who was among 2 others that abducted and raped a teenage girl in the Vineyard district in the parish in June of this year. 2 of the men allegedly involved in the incident were arrested and charged with abduction and rape. Charged are 26-year-old Troyan Lewis, otherwise known as Juby, and 56-year-old Andrew Miller, also called Manayad, both of Vineyard District, St. Elizabeth. Their court dates have not yet been finalized. According to the St. Elizabeth Police, they are following several leads and are coordinating with officers from other police divisions to detain the 3rd man. Reports were that sometime after 1 p.m. on June 16, the teen was chasing cows from her yard onto the main road when Miller, Lewis, and another man approached her in a motorcar. Lewis allegedly exited the vehicle and forced her inside the car. The teen was taken to a house where she was sexually assaulted. A report was made to the police and an investigation launched. Both men were apprehended separately and later charged following interviews. Meanwhile, a curfew has been imposed in the Whitfield Town community, Kingston 11, which is policed by the St. Andrew South Division. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Thursday and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Saturday, July 16. Boundaries for the curfew are as follows: north along Wellington Road from Waltham Park Road to Maxfield Avenue, south along Spanish Town Road from Maxfield Avenue to Waltham Park Road, east along Maxfield Avenue from Wellington Road to Spanish Town Road, west along Waltham Park Road from Spanish Town Road to Wellington Road. The police are advising that during the hours of the curfew, all persons within the boundaries of the curfew are required to remain within their premises until otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. You're listening to Midday News on Suncity 104.9 FM. The time is now 7 minutes after 12, and we continue with regional news. With many countries worldwide still recovering from the hard blows of the coronavirus pandemic on their economy, CARICOM countries and their citizens have been crying out against the rise of inflation and the increase of cost of living. In light of this, Belizean Prime Minister John Briceño has asked the citizens of his country to hold the faith. Kadian Crooks gives us the details.
Prime Minister of Belize, John Briceño, asked Belizeans who are paying more for basic food items to bear with his administration as it joined CARICOM in seeking a remedy to the high inflation caused by increased global prices for oil and gas. According to the Consumer Price Index report for May from the Statistical Institute of Belize, the overall cost of goods and services in the Central American nation increased by almost 7% in the past year. Briceño said he understands what his citizens are going through, and as a government, they are trying to do everything possible to be able to try and help. He said, they're trying to see how they can control the price gouging by trying to work on the issues of the duties that are being charged on the products. The Prime Minister added that in the first quarter, Belize had growth of over 5%, which said they are moving in the right direction. Oil prices fell more than $2 on Thursday as investors focused on the prospect of a large United States rate hike later this month that could stem inflation, but at the same time hit oil demand. Brent crude futures for September were down $2.14 to $97.43 a barrel after settling below $100 for a second straight session on Wednesday. Briceño said he expected the price of fuel on the local market to see a gradual decrease, but the government must first recover the revenues it lost after decreasing the excise duty on diesel and regular gasoline as a relief to the Belizean. The Minister of Finance estimated the loss was in excess of $4 million in the past 3 months. From the Suncity News Center, I'm Kadian Crooks.
Also in the Caribbean, the Seismic Research Center, SRC, of the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies, UWI, has reported that an earthquake with a magnitude of 5.8 rattled Trinidad and Tobago on Thursday afternoon. It said that the quake, which occurred at 3:16 p.m., was at a depth of 98.1 kilometers. It was located at 10.78 degrees north and 62.48 degrees west. There have been no immediate reports of injuries or damage, and residents in Grenada also reported feeling the quake. On the international scene, Sri Lanka's Prime Minister was sworn in on Friday as interim president until Parliament elects a successor to Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who fled abroad and resigned after mass protests over the country's economic collapse. Lawmakers were to convene Saturday to choose a new leader who would serve the remainder of Rajapaksa's term, which ends in 2024. A tenuous calm was restored in the city of Colombo on Thursday after protesters who had occupied government buildings retreated, but with the political opposition deeply fractured, a solution to Sri Lanka's many problems seemed no closer. As people celebrated in the streets, Parliament Speaker Yainda Yapa Abeyawardana promised a swift and transparent political process that should be done within a week. The new president could appoint a new prime minister who would then have to be approved by parliament. After Rajapaksa resigned, pressure on the prime minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was rising. In a televised statement, Wickremesinghe said he would initiate steps to change the constitution to curb presidential powers and strengthen parliament, restore law and order, and take legal action against insurgents. It was unclear to whom he was referring, although he said true protesters would not have gotten involved in clashes near Parliament on Wednesday night when many soldiers were reportedly injured. Also, on the international scene, a mudslide smashed into a rural elementary school in the mountains south of Medellin on Thursday, killing 3 young children after heavy rains washed over Colombia's north and west, according to authorities there. Officials in Antioquia province said about 20 children were at recess in the cafeteria of Lelia school when the slide hit. Most of them escaped unharmed, but 3 under age 6 died and 2 youngsters who had to be dug out of the building were hospitalized. Juan Pablo Lopez, Antioquia's Secretary for Territorial Development, said water-saturated soil broke loose near the top of the mountain on which the school stands in an area near the town of Andes, which is about a 3-hour drive from Medellin. Authorities said another landslide on the outskirts of Medellin killed 2 people on Thursday. Stay tuned to Midday News on Suncity 104.9 FM. We'll have sports right after this. Now for news in sports, with the World Athletics Championships already on the way in Eugene, Oregon, the Sun City News Center took to the streets to get the views of Jamaicans about their expectations of Team Jamaica.
Favorites coming up, well, who I've been noticing is Sharika Jackson, but I always look at the incoming talent on the global stage, and they're knocking heads off. Only way they can do that is because they have a tremendous amateur program.
They should get between 12 to 13 medals.
50 goals, 50 or more. 50 or more, because the strength of the team that is going into the World Athletics Championship this year is a very strong team. Yes, I can just feel it in my spirit that, yes, they 50 or more goals, nothing less, nothing under that.
What is definitely sure is that the girls will get medal, both 100 and 200. The relay will be getting medal in 100 and 200. I think the male might give a medal upon the relay them also. And the hurdle we might get medal. But the 100 meter and 200 meter individual, no, we might make it to the finals, but I doubt we'll medal. I believe one might make the finals, however, I don't think we might get any medal. But I'm still getting the support and have faith.
Gold and silver, yes, our flag will be waving high in the air while we stand in reverence to our strong eternal Father, because we will be on the podium standing in the gold position. Yeah, very confident, very confident.
Honest, I have no faith in that. I have no faith. I see that Johan is in form, but no faith. The women will outperform the men. So I'm looking for first, second, and third in the 100 meters and the 200.
Probably Seville would have come in second, Johan Blake first.
It's 20 and a little bit over, or just 20. So it's 20 and a little bit over. The least it can go is probably 18. But when I tell up all, I'm honestly, this is one of our best years yet, like sending out competent in almost every race.
Well, Johan Blake will definitely take the race from me, and we'll a gold medal.
I do believe our men have a very good chance of being on the podium in Eugene in the 100-meter finals come Saturday night. We have a good combination of youth and experience, and that's always a good combination to have. I wish them all the best.
So when you look on the medal chart, you don't have to scroll to see us. You're going to see, as you open the chart, you're going to see us right there, top of the chart.
Jamaica will be in action today in the heats of the mixed 4x4 relays and will be in the afternoon session in the men's 100-meter heats. The team listed to compete includes Janelle Bromfield, Tiffany James Rose, Akeem Bloomfield, and Gregory Prince. Now, to end this newscast, we take a look at the main stories once more. On the local scene, a man shot in Marine Park, Portmore, St. Catherine. Gun handed over to police following bar tussle in Westmoreland. St. Elizabeth police searching for third man in rape of teen, and curfew imposed in a section of St. Andrews South. On the regional scene, Belize Prime Minister urges citizens to hold strain. Earthquake rattles to an island nation of Trinidad and Tobago. On the international scene, Sri Lanka's Prime Minister sworn in as interim president, and in sports, World Championships to kick off today. And that's it for news and sports from the Sun City News Center at this time. Do join us again at 5 p.m. for more news on this station. Do remember to follow us on our socials. On Instagram and Twitter, look for us at Suncity104.9 FM and on Facebook at Suncity Radio 104.9 FM. I'm Jenna Francis from the Suncity News Center. Do stay tuned for more right here on this station.
It's in our name, fried chicken. It's our thing. Others may try, but we have the original. We put the extra in extra crispy, and our secret in everyone's mouth. So, if we want to make the best chicken sandwich, we just need to put our name on it. The new Kentucky Chicken Sandwich, an abundant triple breaded filet, premium mayo, and pickles, all in a buttered brioche bun. The best chicken sandwich had to be KFC.